So guys, the north is boiling. Protests going on in Kanu. The northerners are trying to cover up for these guys that have been buying people in the north. Now, take a look at this headline. This person said, instead of ending the Christian genocide, Nigeria government are sponsoring protests to make mockery of Donald Trump. Nigeria government works with the terrorists in Nigeria. This is the photo that this person now added. So guys, you can see that instead of the government admitting, I don't know if you have seen photos of what Boko Haram did just the night of yesterday. You need to see how they used machetes, and dealt with, I don't know, the community they entered and dealt with people. Their photos have been littered everywhere there on the social media. This genocide can no longer be denied. But guess what? The northerners are busy protesting that they don't want Trump to come and take away the terrorists. Shebi, they said Muslims too are being spied, and somebody said he's coming to take away the person who is spying the Christians and the Muslims, and now the Muslims are fighting that they don't want him to come. So who is lying? So guys, you can see that those that come out to say that Muslims too are being spied, they are lying, because you can't show any photo or video on the internet where these bad guys will use machete, enter community, use machete and machete people. It's only in the middle belt it is happening. And now Donald Trump said he's coming to rescue these helpless farmers and helpless residents in middle belt, and now the northerners are protesting. Like you, this person here even tweeted and said Fulani terrorists killing Ezazaki and his followers staged a protest to condemn plan by the US President Donald Trump to launch military attack against terrorists in Nigeria. So guys, now who is fooling who? When people come out to complain, they say it's not only Christians, Muslims too. And now somebody wants to come and take away the people who are banned. You say that he shouldn't come. Something must be fishy. Don't forget that we've been told that these people imported these terrorists into Nigeria for political purposes.
The ruling party is the direct sponsor of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria. My name is Martin Onovo. I said it. APC is the direct sponsor of insecurity and terrorism in Nigeria. Ask me for the evidence. We have it, the authority of retired Colonel Linyam, that the Fulani headsmen repelled in Ogoja were using Nigerian army rifles from the barracks in that vicinity, and that the soldiers came to collect the rifles back. Now, who is the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces?
Has insecurity come to stay in Nigeria?
Insecurity cannot come to stay. Insecurity has come to stay with the present government. And the present government cannot last forever. It will not last forever. So insecurity has not come to stay, unless you're talking about come to stay in the short term. Once you have a good government, these things will stop. Kawu Baraje Alhaji was a leading chieftain of the APC. And he has confessed that they imported the foreign mercenaries who have become bandits. He has confessed. How much more evidence do you need? He has confessed that they imported them for the elections. This is public. Why is the media not following up? Why are we not asking for accountability? So it seems very clear to me and to so many others. If you're in the public space, you hear people talking and pointing fingers. The ruling party is the direct sponsor of terrorism and insecurity in Nigeria. My name is Martin Onovo. I said it. APC is the direct sponsor of insecurity and terrorism in Nigeria. Ask me for the evidence. Good. I just gave you confession of Kawu Baraje. That's number one. Number two, Miyati Allah made a public statement that if you want peace in your state, don't call any meeting. Provide land for Fulanis in your state. Public statement. Miyati Allah. Miyati Allah is a collaborator with the ruling party. We had a report that the ruling party funded Miyati Allah to the tune of 100 billion. I wasn't there when the payment was made, but that's in the public domain. We had an official report that the government of Nigeria was going to establish a radio station in collaboration with Miyati Allah, where Fufude, the Fulani tribal dialect, will be the language of communication. Now, interestingly, you asked me for facts. We have it on the authority of the Ondo State government that the PRO of Miyati Allah in Ondo State led the criminal suspect gang that killed Bafa Sharanti's daughter. That is on the authority of the Ondo State government. And they have been arrested. And the leader of the gang is the PRO of Miyati Allah in Ondo State. We have it on the authority of the Nigerian police that a headsman was arrested with a military rifle in Plateau State. I have the number of the rifle. I can send it to you by SMS. I just need to check my records. I have the rifle number. We have it the authority of retired Colonel Linyam that the Fulani headsmen repelled in Ogoja were using Nigerian army rifles from the barracks in that vicinity, and that the soldiers came to collect the rifles back. Now, who is the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces? Who should be responsible for the activities of these armed forces? We have it on the authority of General Danjuma. Danjuma has commanded these forces. We have it on the authority of General Danjuma. That the armed forces are conniving with the bandits that are killing citizens. How much more evidence do you want? How much more evidence? We have hard physical evidence. We have testimonies from relevant authorities. How much more evidence do you want?
As the representative of CAN, I'm going to put the same question to you. When you hear the term or the allegation of Christian genocide from the United States, President Trump, Ted Cruz, etc., what were your thoughts? And indeed, do you agree with them?
Because you're running out of time, I will save you and just go to the basic. One, I've listened to the other speakers. I've listened to the arguments they bring. I am not speaking from research or whatever. I'm speaking as a victim. I'm speaking as the pastor who buried the almost 2,000 people in 2000 in Kaduna. Quote me, my name is Reverend Hayab. I'm speaking as the pastor who also did the mass burial of the over 300 people of the Miss World Beauty pageant on the 23rd of November 2002. I'm also the pastor who came out publicly to denounce the Danish cartoon in 2006, but it later leads to the death of Christians in Maiduguri and death of Christians in Bauchi. So I have been around and I think I know this story. Listening, we are coining it into the politics of America as if we are not in Nigeria. And someone is saying that atrocity was used. Sincerely speaking, there has been killings of Christians in northern Nigeria before even the advent of Boko Haram. I was in Kanu. I just left Kanu with 1 week, and the killing of the visit of Reabonke happened. People were caught. It's a different thing that you are shot to death. It's something else that you are caught to pieces, caught by the neck, caught hacked to death. I saw these cops. I had to run back. My pastor asked me, why did you come back? I said, no, I just left for Kaduna 1 week, and then I heard what happened to my people in places in Kanu. I just came back. So it is something that has...
Sorry, sir, if I'm interrupting you. What year are we talking about?
I'm taking you back.
Okay.
To tell you that I was available when the Bonke crisis happened in Kanu. I was also there, not only there, but buried the mass people that were buried in 2000. I also buried the mass people that were buried in 2002. Then fast forward to 2006, I said I was the pastor who first came out to condemn the Danish cartoon because I knew what was going to follow. But despite that effort, Christians were killed in Maiduguri, Christians were killed in Bauchi for an offense they had no problem about. They knew nothing about. If I just move backward, what happened in 2002, many Christians in northern Nigeria, including Kaduna, don't even know the lady who wrote the article. But they ended up having their churches burned. They ended up having their pastors killed. They ended up having, precisely the Sunday before that violence, I had a guest preacher in my church, Reverend Nee preached in my church at Rahama English Baptist Church. You can Google it. I remember when you could Google that. And just a day after that, that man was burnt. His corpse was like that of a small baby. So when you put together all this, in Maiduguri in 2009, when Boko Haram started, they were never attacking Muslims. They actually went for the church because they said, we are infidel. One among the early pastors that was killed was Pastor Oji. Pastor Oji was killed. When he saw he was going to die, he simply said, go and tell my brothers I die well. Pastor Osonibon was also Sylvester Osonibon, because I traveled with the corps to Ekot Ipene, and then Pastor Yakubu Bitrus, whose brother was then the medical director of the General Hospital in Maiduguri. So I got involved in these things more than the hair story. The Christian North have suffered killing. The Christian North have suffered so much in this thing that today culminates into genocide, as it has been called. So for anybody to say it does not exist and is bringing story of Boko Haram or recent happenings of bandits may not understand, because I followed the conversation. Nobody is saying that the Christian North was just killed in 2002 or they were just killed in 2019. There has been a history. There has been certain pattern. There has been certain development. But let me come back to the last 6 years. I am this same pastor who came out severally on this medium and other medium to cry when I was burying 30, 20, 40, and many other numbers. And why were those people killed? The story they always want to tell is that, no, it is a farmer's herders. I'm above 56. I know the difference between a farmer's and herders conflict. And I know the difference between someone coming to exterminate or eliminate a certain group of people. Because farmers, as we knew, simply had little misunderstanding with herders, and the herders will come either to the police station or to the traditional ruler or community leader, and such issue will be discussed, and they will now ask for reconciliation and possibly ask for little payment of damages. But we have a situation where Innocent women are sleeping in their sleep with their children, with their husband, and people will come to their community, chant religious slogans, set their houses ablaze, shoot them and cut off their necks, and do not stop there. Also burn their religious places. And you still want me to say, no, it's just a communal clash, because that's the kind of, farmers had that clash it. And that's why today we are hiding under those things to argue about that. I looked at the issue of statistics and I just wonder, if you sit there, just Google, you will see in the Wikipedia, the number of churches that document is giving you, that the churches in Nigeria are just 16,000 something. And you and I know that is not true. I am a pastor of the Baptist Church. The Nigerian Baptist Convention, just Nigerian Baptist Convention, we have over 11,200 registered churches. We never bring Redeem into it. You never bring Anglican into it. No Catholic into it. No Methodist into it. No Living Faith into it. So some documents and figures that we have been seeing are quite interesting, but just tell us that there is even to us a conspiracy of silence or a conspiracy of twisting a situation. I see what is happening as an opportunity for us to stop the killing of our fellow citizens just because of their identity.
Having me, I think I stand with the Nigerian people. I stand with the victims of this senseless killing and of innocent Nigerians, and whatever pressure that will be needed to put on our government to do what they ought to do should be done. I think the events of the last few days have been a monumental tragedy. It's a disgrace on every level that it took the intervention of a foreign government to put pressure on the Nigerian government to take seriously what the Constitution describes as the primary responsibility of government, which is the protection of life and property of the citizen. And nobody should question the intervention of the United States. The current president, when they were in opposition, they went in 2014 to the United States of America on the same killing of Nigerians, demanding or requesting for intervention. And so when a man's house is on fire, whoever that helps to put it out, that is the interest of the person. So as it is today, the question is, the US president said the Nigerian government should move fast. So the pressure should be on the Nigerian government to move fast, because I mean, if it were in other crimes, there should be some resignations at this point. Because when you have a series of events where citizens are being killed and there is no action from the leadership, or rather actions that seem to suggest that leaders are rather complicit in protecting criminals or giving them, a soft landing as against protecting innocent citizens, I think it is a monumental tragedy. And whatever that needs to be done, I mean, we are able to take grants and loans and whatever from the United States of America, so we should be able to take their warning and move fast. So President Bola Tinubu, wherever you are, you should move fast to end these killings.
Okay, it's good that you said that. Let's have Chidi in the house. Chidi, are you there? Okay, Mr. Chidi, it's so good to see you this morning. Okay, you've just heard what Peter Eka just said about this wake-up call. So from a security standpoint, do you think that comment was an attack on Nigerian sovereignty? That's Donald Trump's comment. Was an attack on Nigerian sovereignty, or a wake-up call showing that the world is now noticing what we are denying at home?
By the way, Peter, good to have the platform with you. You're one of my favorite activists, so I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, my pleasure.
From the state sovereignty perspective, you would, you will want to agree that the threat, or rather the proclamation by Trump, or let's put it this way, the threat is a direct threat as far as I'm concerned. Is somewhat, if you want to look at it clearly, it points to a violation of our sovereignty, because I mean, sovereignty means that a particular country has the right over its territory, over its internal contradictions, over its conflicts and all that, so that it only takes United Nations declaration or permission from that particular country before any foreign entity can come in. But then that's where that ends. There's also an evolving, United Nations treaty, what they call it, responsibility to protect, R2P. What it says is that if a country hides under that sovereignty claim to allow for a perceived genocide or gross human rights violations, that international communities, superpowers, they have the right to intervene. So in this point, in this perspective, you now see that probably Trump's threat is more like a symbolic, wake-up call for the country, for the administration of this country to sit up, to face the reality that indeed there are certain issues going on that are inimical to the global peace, that are inimical to human rights, that is not acceptable. So we have to be very careful about this. The excitement is there. I could see even from the tone, from the voice, from out there in the street, and a lot of people think that this is the best news I've ever heard. In the Middle Belt out there, probably in Plateau, in Benue, a lot of folks are almost celebrating that indeed maybe God have heard their prayers. But if you sit back and have a sober reflection of this, you see that it's not always good to have foreign powers come into a country to do this kind of intervention, because they never left any country in better shape. So for me, I think the best thing for me, what had happened now is a clear wake-up call. And by the way, haven't you seen that in the past week or two since this issue started, that there have been, some mellow. We don't talk so much about 2027 or decampment to APC. I think everybody is now focused on what Trump has said. So to me, if this Trump's intervention will bring us back to our senses, to know that we have an existential challenge, and we have a serious security problem, then so be it. But as far as I'm concerned, Trump's statement is a wake-up call. It's a clear wake-up call, and it has actually, woken up our interest, our conscience to see that indeed certain people are going through a lot in this country, and it is very clear to everybody to see that the country is not normal.
Thank you, Chidi. Let's get back to Peter in the house. Why are Nigerians angry at the messenger instead of the message? Do you understand? Is pride now replacing urgency in our country? And then secondly too, they keep going on about, it's not just Christians that were killed, it's also Muslims. But the truth of the matter is that nobody's talking about the originators of the killings themselves.
Very important. I mean, it is not about whether being angry at the messenger or taking the message. You cannot even be angry at the messenger because, as the other, my colleague has rightly said, there is a responsibility to protect under the United Nations Charter, and that if foreign government can step in. The US has invested a lot. A lot of our military officers are trained in the US, trained to handle their equipment. They sell most of our weaponry hardware come from the United States. And if the government of the state seems to be folding their arms while these kind of issues are going on, perceived genocide, and all of these kind of hate crimes and events, there is a responsibility to step in. And then if we talk about, Muslims being killed and Christians being killed, the fundamental question will be, who is carrying out the killing?
Exactly.
And then if we now agree, because what it seems now is like, it is more shameful. Our response is not that there are no killings, is that, US, you are not even saying it as bad as it is. So Christians are being killed, Muslims are being killed. Now the question will be, if Christians are being killed, Muslims are being killed, who has a problem with coming in to take out the killers?
Exactly.
I think there should be a mutual agreement that, look, everybody is a victim of this issue, and then the terrorists themselves should be taken out. Who are the sponsors of terrorism? Who are the beneficiaries of terrorism?
That's a big question.
Because there is a track record. President Buhari, under President Jonathan, terrorists were almost confined to the forest. We had the infamous Sambisa forest. Today, under the APC government, terrorists are holding stakeholder meetings with security officials and government. So we have a situation where we have security and insecurity officials holding meetings, brandishing
and giving advice.
And giving advice on how it should be run. President Buhari took out $1 billion from excess crude account and invested in insecurity. Somehow it exploded. When it was under Jonathan, where the President Tinubu now called on the competence of President Jonathan and asked him to resign, insecurity was almost localized within the northeastern region. Under the APC, the military is in active service across 36 states and the FCT. So right now, as it is, the question will be, what exactly is being done? And then you come as a president under this kind of administration, you outsource issues of defense to the National Security Advisor, and guess what? The president is chairing the Ministry of Petroleum. In a country where the last time President Tinubu traveled on a vacation, more than 100 persons were killed in a space of 2 days. That president is heading Ministry of Petroleum and not Defense as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. So when you see this level of mischief across board, people are being killed, bandits will hold peace deal, the next day they are also carrying out attacks. It calls to question the capacity of the government to protect its people. So the same question that President Tinubu asked the Goodluck Jonathan administration should be thrown to him. Has the APC-led federal government lost the capacity to protect Nigerians? If so, then they should take the advice they give to the administration. But if not, please heed the advice of Mr. President Donald Trump and move very quickly to end this killing.
Okay, let's get back to you, Peter. How do we separate Islam from extremism? Because how do we do that without demonizing peaceful Muslims themselves? But yes, at the same time, not allowing extremists to hide behind religion. How do we find a balance?
We must be honest with ourselves as a people. There are the majority of Muslims. I have Muslim friends. We relate with them. They are peace-loving people who just want a country to thrive. The question is, there is a problem when you always need to say that a religion is a religion of peace. That statement in itself, because religion should not be otherwise. And the leadership of, the northern part of the country must be honest with themselves. Is illiteracy and certain social vices being weaponized against the people? What kind of Islam, we must ask ourselves, is practiced in Qatar? What kind of Islam is practiced in Saudi Arabia? What kind of Islam is done in United Arab Emirates and in Bahrain that are moving technologically, growing and prosperous for across the citizens? How has our own religion only turned out to produce insecurity, poverty? How many of the children of the elite northerners are engaged in the kind of Almajiri system that they push forward? So we must come to the understanding that every person who is at the baseline, who is not at the upper class of society, is a victim. Religion is only being used as a cloth to cover. Both Christians are being killed, Muslims are being killed. And if you know truly, remember the incidents that happened when Deborah Yakubu was killed in Sokoto State, Usman Dafolo. Yes, stoned to death. Who was arrested? How many people were prosecuted? Some northern leaders who put out a tweet had to delete it for fear of backlash. There is a problem with that kind of society. In 2016, Deaconess Olawale Eunice, a Redeemed Christian Church of God evangelist in Kubwa, was butchered to death. Who was arrested? Who was prosecuted? The vice president in that administration was a redeemed pastor. What was done about it? So when there is a track record of a failure of the judicial system where there is selective justice, then everybody becomes a victim. At this point now, if Christians, or there is a perception there is Christian genocide, and then Muslims also believe that Muslims are being killed, is it not an opportunity for everybody to unite and say, look, we are all victims, let us take this out? So it lies on the leadership of even both religious sectors and also the people to know that in the end of all of this, when all is said and done, those of us who do not have the opportunity, in Nigeria, one of the offenses you will commit is to be poor. Whether you are Islam or Christian, the only person who that Sharia one time has caught was somebody who stole, his hand was amputated. A governor in the north was caught on camera receiving dollar and stacking inside Babariga. The president at the time said that the video was probably doctored. So laws are meant for the poor. So you can even recite the Quran from back to back, but when it comes to the issue of dispensing of justice, you may not be held to the same standard with an elite or somebody of opportunity.
It's good that you mentioned that, because there's also the speculation that some people in power actually encourage this conflict because they use it to their advantage. What's your take on that?
It is.
And there are also those who believe that the governors of the states where these things happen should be sanctioned one way or the other when these occurrences do come to pass.
Anti-rules. I think it was the late Sani Abacha who said when insecurity lasts beyond 24 hours, then there should be the hand of government in it.
Yes.
The former Nigerian Minister for Defense, our first Minister for Defense, T.Y. Danjuma, stood on a platform in Taraba and made a bold statement. He said the military, they are not neutral. They collude with the terrorists. A Minister for Defense, what was the investigation that was carried out? We have seen pictures and videos and allegations of where terrorists were found in certain government houses and nothing was done about it. So when there is a perception that instead of protecting life of citizens, persons in government, why is it that insecurity has become almost a multinational economic investment? The more money you pour into it, the more it increases. So definitely it has become business. So if you can allow this kind of criminality to fester, the same Nigerian government that rejected the intelligence of the United States decided to start Operation Safe Corridor. How do you do repentant terrorists in the middle of a war when the victims of their killings and terrorism are still languishing in internally displaced person camps in conditions that are subhuman? That same country was spending billions rehabilitating known terrorists, allegations with even engaging them into the country's armed forces, and you say there is no collusion. You cannot say you are neutral. So until Nigerians realize that this is beyond what is being said, is less than what is not said. For the past, you know how many days now you can see the government running from pillar to post. For 2 years, you needed President Trump to tell you before you can appoint diplomats. We had no ambassadors manning our embassies across the country. The president they are more concerned with trying to pull people from one party and entering into the APC so that you can begin to sing on your mandate you shall fall. It is a colossal failure and a shame. But Nigerians must wake up and save ourselves.
Okay. Let me get to our Abuja guest. So Chidi, you've heard what Peter has had to say so far, but I want to ask, because there was an allegation that an American captive was once held by Boko Haram, and America within 2 days, not 2 months, not 2 weeks, within 2 days rescued their citizen. So what I want to now ask is that if the US can rescue its citizens inside Nigeria within days, what stops deeper intelligence sharing? What stops it? What stops them sharing that with us? Is it lack of trust or political obstruction? I'm confused.
Well, I mean, picking up just one victim of kidnap is not the same as dealing with the entire, gamut of, the kidnap industry.
No, it's the length of time in which it was done. Monumental. In the length of time in which it was done, this was 2 days. So that means, obviously...
In any case, I mean, look, I get your point, but the thing is, we have to really come down to where we are. We are Nigeria. We're not the United States of America. We've not gotten the kind of technology that they have.
But
what we should be talking about now is how do we... Yeah, definitely, that's what I'm coming to. You got it spot on. The point we are right now is the point where we can, seek for robust collaboration with America and other powers that have the capability to help us. As it is now, it's not. I don't think that doing it alone, by us, is the right way to go. But I will always urge that this idea of this excitement about America coming to do the job for us without our permission is not the best way to go. What we should talk about is how do we develop a robust structure to see a collaboration between America and Nigeria, to see that they can share their technology, share their intelligence, share their their experience, and then probably give us those leverages that can help us. I do not foresee a situation where we have foots on the ground or have American military camps across Nigeria. It never spells good for us. But look. The goal is actually to see how we can surmount these security challenges across the country. So any way the Americans can help us by making sure that we defeat terrorism is what every discerning Nigerian is talking about. But you see, we have to look at the bigger picture. Yes, you consider the immediate. Yes, you see the leadership failures. Yes, you see the incapabilities of some of our security agencies. Yes, you see the poor security architecture that have made it possible for us to rely only on the military, playing down on the role of the police. We have to see that we have to stop that idea that the military, the security, the intelligence and response agencies are not collaborating well. How do we threaten this? These are the issues we're talking about now. I've gone beyond excitement about the fact that Americans say they are coming. I don't think that's what should be exciting us. What should be talking about right now is how do we make sure that beyond the euphoria, beyond that anticipation, that we can get something on a sustainable basis without actually impugning on integrity of our sovereignty. This is what every nation should look at. I'm looking beyond the immediate administration, because the crisis didn't start now. Now, if you look at the charges from the American side, they actually talked about from 2009.
So guys, there have been a lot of reactions going on, and in case you don't know, the terrorist guys, the ICC terrorists, they've issued a warning telling Donald Trump that they are not scared that there's genocide in Nigeria, that they know, and that they are going to continue buying of people. So guys, you can see that this country has been taken over. Now, there's a Reverend Father here. 5 years ago, 18-year-old Catholic seminarian Michael Nnamdi was abducted in Kaduna and brutally murdered. His only offense was sharing the gospel. They may have silenced his voice, but his message still echoes through our hearts and faith. So guys, this is what these terrorists have caused. Recently, a Reverend Father was also fired after they collected ransom. They asked for ransom. Ransom was paid. They collected the money and still fired him. And it's been a very tragic moment for those of them in the north. Christianity is not even having its way freely in the north. And one would just wonder why the northern leaders, you hardly see anybody. I just keep saying it. You hardly see any of them coming out to condemn what's happening. Now let's take a look at these reactions. This person here says the time to make peace, as Abraham and his brother Lord did, is what northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria should embrace. This person said the irony is that this bishop is busy denying Christian genocide because his party stole his way to Aso Rock. This one says the blood of the innocent Christians cry from the ground of the northern Nigeria unto Elohim. And this person say his blood will never keep quiet. This person said, this is my mom's younger sister's son. His soul rest in peace. Wow. Your mom's younger sister's son. Child. Really sad though. We for armed Christians, I remember this news, very terrible. No be pellet brother with this. This one says continue to rest in peace. Please help Nigeria. This person is calling the President Trump's government to please help Nigeria. So guys, I think it's becoming clearer to Nigerians that Trump did not exaggerate. Trump said it the way it is. And those who don't want to hear, they are the ones being scared, They are the ones being scared of the reality on ground. Anyway guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification. Thank you.